Okay, good morning class. So, sorry about the background noise that will be coming up. As you know, they're working in the back room. Alright, so you guys had the homework of yesterday, not so? Alright, and the homework was on exercise 1.1, not so? You had to conclude that table, correct? And I said today we're going to do the table on the board. Okay? And which page is this on? Page 3. 2. Little J, so I must just cut that part. J. They were going to be perfect. Yeah, come close. Alright. So the question says complete the following table by ticking the correct columns. Okay. So 7, is the 7 the number 7 rational? Yes, it can be written as a fraction, not so. So we tick yes. Is it irrational? No. It can't be rational and irrational at the same time. It can be none of the two here, like the square root of negative 4, or 5 over 0. But it will never be rational and irrational at the same time. Not so? Is it real? Yes. Is it not real? No. In the same time, something can't be real and non-real at the same time. Okay. Negative 7, rational, irrational, real, right? Negative 1 over 7, rational, yes, irrational, no, real, no. Square root of 7, say surd, so it's irrational, it's real. Negative 3 over root 16, now root 16 is 4, so that's negative 3 over 4, not so. So that is rational, not irrational, real, and not non-real. The square root of 7 is the surd, it's irrational, but real. Negative root 7. Negative root 7. Is it rational? No. Is it irrational? No. Is it real? No, but it's non-real. 0.23 recurring. So this is a recurring number. Recurring numbers could be represented as fraction. So it's rational. Not irrational. Is it real? Yes. Square root of negative 7 is non-real. So even though 2 is real, because I got a non-real component there, is forming what we said yesterday. What is the name we gave for those numbers yesterday? Complex numbers. Okay, for as a real part and a non-real part together forms a complex number. So that is it irrational? Is it rational? No. Is it irrational? No. Is it real? No. Is it non-real? Yes. Guys understand? 4 root 3, you have a rational part and an irrational part too. Here we can see that. But the number as a whole will then be irrational, but real. The square root of negative 1 over 7 is non-real. That is a surd. Square root of 49 is 7, so it's real. And it is rational, not irrational, it's real. Can't be non-real at the same time. Square root of negative 7. I see it's coming up often here. It's non-real. And this is a surd, so it will be irrational. Okay? Any confusion here? No. Then you went on to exercise 1.2. You have to do the first column. Correct? Just a second. Did you have any problems in this first column? From number 1. Any issues here? Number 2, the first column. Any issues here? Yes. So what was the problems in number 2? Sorry? TGJ. All 3 there. Okay. I'll sort that out. You now see why I didn't give you for homework the second column of number 2. Because I knew that. That is common problems that learners have. The sum comes in, it's between 4 and 5 marks for the sum. Okay, so this is exercise 1.2, page 5. Number 2, no? Two D, 2G, okay, so let's look at the first one. Okay, so what did we say with regards to the negative? What can happen? We take 1 over it, over the number. That's all. Make the exponent positive. So we say that if you got x to the minus 1, that's 1 over x. If you got 1 over x to the minus 1, that is x over 1, which is x. But is 1 over x to the minus 1 plus 1 equal to x over 1 plus 1? No. There is a plus or minus between that. We can't apply that. Not so? However, we know that this here, x to the minus 1 is what? 1 over x. So that is 1 over x plus 1. In which I must simplify the half. Not so? Still going to simplification and all of those things. But that wasn't the sum, so I'm not going to complete that one there. That was just for explanation purposes. So in other words, that x to the minus 1 can be written as what? 1 over x plus 1 over 1. You guys understand? Alright, so let's do it together. So write that down, you do the next step. Okay. So, what does this line here mean? What does this line here mean? To divide. Not so? So in other words, it's 1 divided by 1 over x plus 1 over y. Not so? Then what do we do now? What can we do inside the bracket? Okay, remember, this is to divide. So when I'm going to change this to multiplication, I would like to tumble in times. Can I tumble in times at this point? No. It has to be one term following a negative sign. Inside the brackets, you don't have one term. We need to make it one term. So we're going to find a LCM. You could have found the LCM in that format as well. Doesn't matter. Okay? So do that quickly. So it's 1 divided by, got an LCM of xy, so I can drop the bracket, okay, times by y, multiply that by x. So what would I have on top? Y plus, now what do? Tumble in times, not so? We change that to multiplication. So that will be 1 multiplied by xy over y plus x, which is xy over y plus x. See now why they would give you 4 marks for that something. Okay? Let's look at G. So can that x to the minus 1 come down to the denominator? And then what? Can that happen? Now why? Because the minus and plus between. However, x to the minus 1 can be written as 1 over x plus 1 over y and so on. So do the first step. In that form, it's called what we call a complex fraction. It's a fraction over a fraction. So 1 over x plus 1 over y, all divided by 1 over x squared minus 1 over y squared. Okay? As we said, this line here means to divide. So in other words, it's 1 over x plus 1 over y must be divided by. I could have done that first step in finding an LCM there already, if I wanted to. Okay? Just taking it step by step. Now we find an LCM. You guys at that point already? Yes? Okay, so what's the LCM in the first bracket? XY. So the first denominator must be multiplied by y. And this y must be multiplied by x. That's all. So that will be 1 times y is y, 1 times x is x. Must be divided by. What's the LCM in the second bracket? X squared, y squared. So this must be multiplied by y squared. We must multiply by x squared. So what do I get then? Y squared minus x squared. What's up? So what can be done now? What can happen now? Thank you, Miss. Did you guys agree? Change the multiplication, tumble and times. So that gives us y plus x over xy must be multiplied by x squared, y squared over difference of two squares. You all agree difference of two squares can apply here. So it's going to give you y minus x, y plus x. So what can happen now? You can cancel, simplify. So you all agree x cancel one of those x's, the y cancel one of those y's. What else can cancel? Y plus x also cancels y plus x. So what are we left with? Xy on top, yes, which is that there. Over. It's part of your homework, you must do it again. Sometimes it's probably worth 6 marks. Easy 6 marks. You see how easy grade 11 is? Yes, we just want to give you marks. Where's the 6 marks for it? Come on. Easy. No? I'm upset it's so easy. People, let's try J quickly. J. Okay. So if I got a times b to the negative 1, remember that negative 1 is only on the b. So only the b comes down. That's all? So in other words, that will be a over b minus. Do you guys get that one right? Right. Minus b over a. This is all over 1 over a squared minus 1 over. Now what? Find it. LCM. We know this means. What does that mean? To divide. So what's your LCM on top? Am I moving too fast for you guys? Are you still busy with the sun? Who's still busy with the sun? Okay, 2, 3 people. Okay, I'll give you a minute. Sort it out. You guys are finished. Everybody's finished. Okay. LCM is AB. So this was multiplied by A, multiplied by B. So A times A, of course, is A squared minus B squared. The LCM at the bottom, A squared, B squared. And then multiplied by B squared to get the LCM there, multiplied by A squared. So we'll have B squared minus A squared. So what do I do now? Double n times. So it will be A squared minus B squared over AB times A squared B squared over. Okay, now if you look at B squared minus A squared, it will link up with A squared minus B squared. That's all? Are they the same? No, but I can swap it around at least. We'll get the same product, we'll factor out. Not so. If I swap that around, what's going to happen? What's going to happen if I'm going to swap that around? If I swap this around, what's going to happen? A negative is going to come out. Not so.